Howdy. With this video, I want to go over the next essay very briefly and then show you how to do journal number 8, which is a little bit technical there. I'm doing this video on Friday, October 2nd. Hopefully you're getting that career essay in. Make sure that LinkedIn page has all that material. For Monday the 5th, journals 7 through 9 are due. And again, I need to show you how to do journal number 8 here. After that, you're going to give me an annotated bibliography, which we'll talk about that assignment in a separate video. Basically, you're just going to list the sources you're going to use in your MLA medical essay. Then after that, we're going to keep working with the medical essay. Eventually, the draft's due to Miss Loopy on the 19th. Then the essay will be due on the 26th. Then we'll just have one more essay to do. I'll pause while you cheer. I guess to begin with, we'll go to the essay assignment. What's that? Wait a minute, hold on. I got a lot of things going on there. There we go. It's on the content page there. Just under MLA medical research essay. I'm just going to bring that up a little bit. For this essay, you got to write a 1,250 word narrative research essay on a medical topic of your choice. You need to tell someone's story, and then you're going to put the research into that person's story with this particular medical concern. So basically, your essay is going to involve a comparison of the experience of a person you know, or this can be yourself. But it can't be like, Michael Jordan or, I'm showing my age there, right? Or LeBron James if he had an injury. You don't know LeBron James, so you can't really write about him. It should be someone you know or yourself who has dealt with a medical issue. And you're going to, again, tell that person's story and put the research about that medical topic into the person's story. This is a good way to narrow the research down a little bit. If you, for example, say, I want to do mine on breast cancer, and you just give me this 50,000 word essay about breast cancer with all these I'm going to be like, no, I want you to tell someone's story. And that way you might have to narrow it down. You might focus more on the treatment or something like that. Kind of depends on the particular medical topic. But make sure you got someone in mind. Make sure you ask permission. You're going to post this on LinkedIn. So make sure you ask the person's permission and all that good stuff. But about 50% of the word count of the essay should be at least the personal narrative. Then the rest is going to be the research you put into that narrative. You should kind of be getting away from the 5-paragraph format at this point, getting away from that 3-point thesis. Nothing wrong with a 5-part essay, but you should be going beyond this for college level writing. For the essay, you're going to have at least 3 authoritative sources other than personal interviews. You should use at least 2 sources from the Northeast State database if at all possible. Of course, there are other, depending on what condition you're talking about, there might be plenty of other sources. If you're going to talk about, say, someone's lung cancer, you might end up talking about, going to the American Cancer Society site or something like that. But it have to be reliable sources, not just Wikipedia or the first thing you find in a Google search. Make sure it's peer-reviewed, make sure it's authored, make sure you know who's writing it, and you know their credentials for being able to write that particular article about that medical topic. And as you think about a topic, it doesn't have to be life or death. It doesn't have to be cancer or Alzheimer's or some of this life or death stuff. I've had good ones on peanut allergies, teen acne, ACL tears. If you were an athlete in high school, you probably know somebody who had an ACL tear. And it's really remarkable what they can do now. I mean, in the old days, if you had an ACL tear, you were done. Now they do the surgery, and 6 months, a year later, you're back out there playing football or whatever. It's really remarkable what they can do. So everybody's essay is going to be a little bit different. But basically, if you think about a medical problem, generally there's a process to it. Generally, there's symptoms. It kind of depends. Something like Alzheimer's, the symptoms take years to develop. Something like an ACL tear, you jumped up to grab the ball, you landed, and pop, and down you went, right? But generally, there's some kind of symptoms. Then you get some kind of diagnosis. Then you get some kind of treatment. You get the results from those treatments. Then you kind of have a prognosis for the future, right? Hopefully, for an ACL tear, the prognosis is good. For something like Alzheimer's, it's not good, right? So as you're thinking about that, you might go through more than one topic. You might get into one like, I don't want to talk about this. Or you might start talking to the person. They might say, I don't want to talk about it. Some students want to talk about somebody else's post-traumatic stress disorder concerns. And one of the problems with that that particular medical issue is that they don't want to talk about it. So be careful there. So make sure you ask the person, make sure you talk to the person if it's not going to be you, and see if they want to talk about it and they don't mind it being on LinkedIn, things like that. But you should have at least 2 images in your essay. It's kind of up to you. Have some really good gross out pictures. If you've never seen a picture of an ovarian cyst, don't eat lunch before you do so. But it's fascinating to look at and see what's going on in people's bodies. And it's kind of up to you what images you use. You might have an image of the person if they're okay with that. Say, hey, hey, look, Grandma Betty came through all this, and here she is, a picture with me. It's kind of up to you what you want to do with the images. But if you're going to describe something like an ACL tear, it's a lot easier to show a picture of a knee and say, here's the ACL, than it is if we spend 15 paragraphs trying to describe what a knee does and what the ACL does and all that kind of thing. We got to cite the source of the image, and they don't count as part of those 3 authoritative sources. They might come from one of those sources, but if you got to use other stuff from the source if you're going to count it in your paper. Need a long quote, short quote, summary, and paraphrase. All the fun punctuation. You'll use figurative language without even thinking about it in this essay. And you want to kind of avoid you're not telling me what would happen if I had this problem. You might do it as a hook in an essay. You'll get a notice with the sample essay for Journal 7. She kind of starts out, have you ever lost your keys? Have you done this? And of course, someone might just like, yeah. And then, but that's normal. That doesn't mean you have a problem, but here's what happened to my grandmother. Don't use it. You might end up using I quite a bit if you're talking about yourself or family member. Just kind of depends on your topic. A couple of warnings. Try not to write about something that happened a long time ago. The information tends to get pretty fuzzy, and you may not be able to build a good essay and tell that person's story very accurately, particularly if you were a little kid or something and you talk about something that happened to someone who's much older than you. So be careful with that. But kind of, again, sometimes it takes a couple of different topics to work through, but hopefully it's kind of an interesting essay for you. Kind of getting to write about something maybe you want to talk about more than, kind of esoteric topics English teachers care about. For journal entries, get there in a second. My internet's a little slow today. For number 8, the first one, you're just going to read the sample essay on the help resources. For number 8, I want you to go to the Northeast State databases and find 3 possible sources for your MLA medical essay. That means you kind of start thinking about what topic, whose story you want to tell, and what kind of topic you're going to work with. And again, you're going to have to talk to that person if you're not talking about yourself, and kind of figure out exactly what problem they had. They might just say I had lung cancer, but there's different types of lung cancers, there's different stages, and you're going to have to kind of push them a little bit and make sure they tell you specifically what was wrong with them, so you can start looking for precise research. Number 9 is just another mental health one. Registration starts November 2nd, less than a month away, so for spring 2021. So what are your plans? And kind of just talking about the semester in general. Alrighty. So for number 8, you need to go to the Northeast State databases. These are outside of D2L, so you need to get into your search engine and get to the Northeast State homepage. And it should come up to the Northeast State homepage. I'm not sure what I was about to say. But you're going to go to the Students tab, and we're going to go to the library here. So you're going to go down to the library. And we're going to go to online databases. And you're going to see there's 117 databases. You're not searching through all of those. We're going to go to the Health and Wellness database, so we're going to click on H. And Health and Wellness is good. Health and Medicine can be good. This can be kind of a little more technical, the Health and Medicine, where you're getting doctors writing about doctors. So we're going to go to Health and Wellness Gale. And this is a database designed for students who are doing research on medical topics, particularly high school and college students, like you are doing this kind of research. If you're off campus, it'll ask you for your username and password. That'll be the one, your original one you got into D2L with. If you change your D2L password, make sure you go back to the original one. But it'll pop up here, Gale Health and Wellness. There's different ways to do searches. You can just come down here to diseases and conditions if you have a fairly common concern. But like we'll come down here to say lung cancer. And you're going to see kind of an overview there. You can click on read more. But also as you go down, you're going to see some other references. I don't know if I need to know what pneumonectomy is. But this Gale Encyclopedia of Medicine, lung cancer, small cell, lung cancer, non-small cell. Again, the closer you are to what the actual problem was, the better off you're going to be with this type of searching. We'll click on lung cancer, non-small cell. It's hard to say. But these are wonderful sources. They tell you a description of the disease, how many people have it, causes and symptoms, all the kind of stuff you're going to talk about in your paper. And one reason you only have to have 3 sources is because quite often sources start repeating the same thing over and over. So to have 10 sources saying the same thing over and over is kind of silly. This is looking like a really good one. They talk about treatments. And the cool thing about these sources is, one, it sends you to other sources, other websites. So here's the American Cancer Society, things like that, American Lung Association. So you can go to other reliable sources. But the really, really cool thing about the databases and the Northeast State databases is it gives you your works cited page entry right here. And for journal number 8, this is what I'm looking for. You're just going to copy that. You can also select, and there's different ways to get it there. Make sure you're in MLA 8. I guess I already selected it there. You're just going to copy that, put it into your journal entry, and that's going to be, you're going to do that 3 times with 3 different sources here. So the databases are really nice in terms of being able to provide the citation generator to provide you the correct works cited entry. But you can see there's all kinds of different information. Quite often these databases will also give you some good images you can use if you want to be careful. If you're a smoker and researching lung cancer, they start showing pictures of your lungs, right? But that's what we're looking for with journal number 8. I want you to go to those databases, see if you can find information on your source, and then use the citation generator to put those onto your works cited, to a works cited page entry. And also, when you get to that annotated bibliography, you can reuse these sources, and you'll have 3 to start with, which is kind of nice. So, a lot to think about there. Again, it's pretty normal to go through a couple of topics because you'll talk to somebody and they'll go like, I don't want to talk about that. Or you just may find it's just not a particularly good, it's not going to work well for you for whatever reason. Also, for broad topics, probably have to narrow that down a little bit once you start doing your research. It's not easy to do one on, I'll say, like Alzheimer's, because there's so much involved in that, whether it's diagnosis, treatments, taking care of someone with Alzheimer's. I've had good essays just on somebody, taking care of someone in the final stages of Alzheimer's and the effect on their family and things like that, and what's happening to that person's body and their mind. It's not a happy essay, but it can be kind of therapeutic to write about things like that. But it's kind of up to you. Again, I may start saying, hey, narrow that down, or you're going to write your first book. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. If you just choose Alzheimer's, kind of how you're going to narrow that down a little bit. And you're going to see maybe one problem with the sample essay is she's got a big topic, and she could write her first book there. And so she has a little bit of trouble keeping it narrowed and focused. And and every essay is going to be a little bit different, so that's kind of neat. But the neat thing about this is somebody else in the class is writing about teen acne, and you decide you want to write about teen acne. It's going to be 2 different essays because you're going to be talking about 2 different people. It's going to be 2 different stories, and some of the research might overlap a little bit, but it's going to be 2 totally different essays. That's what makes these fun to read, interesting to write. But I'm going to hush up there, and if you have any questions about it, if you have questions about topics, be sure and let me know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.